Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be talking about the 2025 Pokemon TCG Rotation. Now, it's a hot topic for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, hey, which card should I buy? Should I jump into Pokemon? A lot of questions like that. If you don't know what rotation is, basically, if we look at the letter of the card here at the bottom, Regidrago has an F block rotation. We're rotating out all F block cards. Now, what does that mean? We're losing all Pokemon V, V-Star, Radiant Pokemon, and essentially our format should be Scarlet and Violet on. It looks like our last set that we had, we're losing up everything all the way until Brilliant Stars, until Crown Zenith. Then it's going to be Scarlet Violet on. Now, this is still unofficial news right now. I do want to point that out. So I'm reading Trust Your Pilot. They're one of the X accounts that I go for news all of the time. And it says standard format rotation will happen on March 27th, 2025 in Pokemon TCG Live. This news comes from the PokeBeach, very credible, very large website. Announcement that our first main set of 2025 is called Journey Together and releases on March 28th physically. Say goodbye to F block cards. So if you're kind of going through your collection, we know that rotation's coming up, and whether it's March 27th, 28th, 29th, April 1st, whatever, a lot of things have been thrown around. Until we get an announcement from Pokemon, nothing is official, but it is coming up, and this is probably the closest that we have to anything that's kind of solidified. I mean, if it quacks like a duck and it swims like a duck and it waddles like a duck, it's probably a duck. And a lot of the times, this kind of happens when like Pokemon might be a little bit slow. They may be like, yeah, we're going to announce this. Oh, wait, we already kind of figured it out. Think of it like you're going for Christmas and your kids open up the presents and they get a PS5 game. And they're like, Mom and Dad, I don't have a PS5. And you're like, the news is out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where this leads to our next clue. So looking at the PokeBeach article, we can reveal that March SV9 set is Scarlet and Violet Journey Together. This is the set that they kind of showcased at the World Championships a little bit early. So that was really cool. That features a lot of the owners' Pokemon. So will release on March 28th. Pre-releases are going to happen a couple weeks before that. As the name implies, Journey Together will be based on Japan's Battle Partner sets. That's going to release in Japan in January 24th. We'll probably have some more news on our channel about that. Battle Partners will feature Iono on its cards, sleeves, and deck box. Releasing along will be Collection File N, Collection File Lily, all that cool stuff there. Now, our English set should use cards from the Marty and Steven pre-con decks. That'll be releasing in Japan on February 21st. They're called Starter Set EX Steven's Beldam and Metagross EX, Starter Set Marnie's Morpeko, and Grimmsnarl EX. So Pokemon did reveal some of these cards during their closing ceremony. You can see that this is right ripped from the World Stream. I was there in Honolulu. It was really cool. There was that moment where Tord Reklev was pretty high because of Enzork EX. It has the trade ability. And if we look at this, like, we have some cool cards coming out. That's a little bit different than what we have. Like, that's different than the rotation. Like, we are getting new cards. They are replacing our format's going to be drastically different. But the biggest thing that we're taking here is we're getting the set on March 28th. If we have anything that comes from that, rotation on PTCG Live should be coming up. So if you are looking to pick up any cards with the F block regulation, realize that those cards may not be legal for too much further. However, there's a lot of life left in our format. This means that these cards will be legal for the upcoming European International Championships in February, probably a few regionals after that. But we're going to have a drastic change to our metagame. So if you're a new player, I'd recommend picking up Scarlet Violet on cards in majority, and then really trying to work with it. Don't necessarily hinder yourself when it comes to like playing these decks, but it is something to consider. The other part of this is I just want to kind of farewell to some of these cards that we might be missing from a competitive sense and just kind of scroll through them. So I'm gonna switch it over to PTCG Live and we'll kind of look through some of these F block cards, talk about them a little bit, and bid them farewell. So let's jump into that. So I set my filters on live to show some kind of F block on cards. And like, I mean, I'm not going to be upset about losing this APOM. It's a cute card. Maybe you're a fan of APOM. But really, like, from a competitive sense, I'm kind of worried about a lot of the cards that we're losing. Arceus V-Star is a card that ruled a large part of the format, not necessarily as much nowadays, but if you've been playing Pokemon over the last 2 years, Arceus V-Star has got me one of my trophies back up there. Countless international championship wins, one of the most successful cards of all time, and it's just like no longer there. No more V-Star powers. And like, you might be like, okay, whatever, what's a V-Star power? Literally, V-Star powers allowed you to search through your stuff. Like, Forest Seal Stone and Lumineon and Rotom are played in so many Stage 2 Pokemon EX decks. So many decks like Cloth, so many decks in general, that like we're gonna have to rediscover engines. Like, the game is almost like we're starting a new era of Pokemon. And like, I've been through this for forever. I've been playing Pokemon since 2004, 2005. So like, I've been through a lot of these rotations. This is a pretty drastic one, because like the whole V mechanic is like a lot, and V-Star powers are really powerful. Like a lot of Pokemon sets, there's gonna be a lot of clutter, but Barrel is a card that is allowing us to draw cards, played in a decent bit of decks, not necessarily so much nowadays, but still like saw a decent bit of success. And I'm sure like we're gonna scroll through and see some other cards. There's some cards that slip through the cracks just because they're featured in other sets, like Senna Scourge, for example, because there's the Senna Scourge here from Lost Origin that was featured in the trainer gallery. That card was long rotated anyways. But Comfey, for example, Lost Zone, gone. I mean, Lost Zone ruled the format for a long portion. It's still ruling the format. Techs in your Gardevoir decks like Cresselia that have been featured in International Championship top cutting decks. There's just a bunch of like niche tech cards, like Darkrai V-Star was kind of a deck. Delphox V was played in Gouging Fire. Like, these are decks that have earned people championship points, things to Worlds. Drapion V, even though that we were playing it more for Mew VMAX, is now finally getting rotated. And you can see like Drapion V has decided games. It was a tech card that people decided. Like, I played it in my decks. So as we continue to scroll down, we see like it's not always going to be everything when it comes down to it. Like, we're not losing every single card we have. Scarlet Violet's a very powerful set of cards. Tina, a card that we play in Regidrago. Speaking about Regidrago, Regidrago's gone. That means no more copying things out of this card pile. I know a lot of people are going to be pretty happy about that one. I read through my YouTube comments, y'all. A lot of y'all hate Regidrago, and if you're a Regidrago hater, give us a like, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comments how much you hate Regidrago. It all helps boost the YouTube algorithm. Goodra is a card I earned championship points. I won a league challenge with this card earlier this season in like September or something like that. It's crazy to be like, this was part of my journey this season, and now it's not. So we keep on like scrolling through, and there's like, again, you might fall into dead patches of like cards or whatever. I feel like this is a card that never quite got its flowers. It seemed like such a cool card. One of the last VMAXs released. Didn't necessarily get a chance to pop off. Lugia V-Star, arguably the most successful deck of all time. Lumineon being able to search through your deck for a supporter card. Like, we have other cards like Squawkabilly and Pheasantipity, and like, we'll be fine. But like, certainly there's quite a few cards that I just think that like you're going to go through when it comes to building a deck. Like, even if you're playing the new Cloth deck, you're going to lose the Oranguru. Like, we have a lot of pieces. Palkia V-Star has been one of the most successful cards. The first year it came out for the international championships, I piloted it to a top 64. We then saw it at future seasons. We've seen this card all over the map, being played in Goldango, being played as its own deck, being played in Ceruledge. Like, it's really like a capable card. This is a card we're going to miss in Control. Like, we go through a lot of this. And I mean, look, if you're trying to pick up some cards right now, now's a great time to pick up these cards for the cheap. Like, Radiant Greninja is probably either gone down or will start going down. So if you're trying to build retro decks, you're trying to prepare for the international championships, now's a good time. Like, even for myself, like, I'm selling some of my cards that are extras because I don't need 30 Radiant Greninjas. Maybe there's someone who doesn't have one. I can slash the price. It works out for everyone. At the same time, if you're trying to get any of the new cards, like the Phesandipides, those like cards that are just staples in our now G block on formats. And again, you can see that these cards have the little F block at the bottom left of their card. So that's where you're really looking, parents, kids, anyone looking for where those are, anyone who's watching this video, bottom left hand side of the card, right beside the set symbol. More or less Scarlet Violet on is really where we're at. So that's anything with a like, it really makes it decided that there's now just going to be a gray border on our cards. Like any card that has, you know, a gray border. Here's a warped rescue board. Like this border, you see the silver gray border compared to the yellow border. Really big difference. That doesn't necessarily mean that a card can't be played. Maybe there was a reprint, so a card like Switch that's been printed all the way since base set, you could play those switches. So you can play like any of the older Ultra Balls or something like that. Like that's allowed. But like more or less, if it's a newer card, it's just going to be a silver border on. So we've lost a lot of like really good cards. We see even like Curlia setup card that we played in Gardevoir decks. Gardevoir might see a hit. There's that Regidrago that I was talking about. We see even just like the Regis, a very popular deck. Like I played this deck to the Oceania International Championships. Like it goes down and on and on and on and on and on and on. Trainer cards, like there's definitely handfuls of cards that are really important, such as Colress's Experiments. Choice Belt was a card that definitely stole games. Definitely was well played. Dark Patch leaving is definitely something to consider. Forest Seal Stone that we briefly mentioned before. Hisuian Heavy Ball, Irida, like there's a lot of core cards. And if we look at our trainer cards, like we don't lose like these basic energies, whatever. Like these are just like basic energies in general, but we are going to lose double turbo energy. Like, I don't care about losing V-Guard energies because it's only for V Pokemon. That's fine. V Pokemon are leaving. I'm not going to worry about V-Guard energy. Double turbo energy is literally what makes a lot of decks just go. So we are losing a significant portion of cards. So it is something to consider if you are trying to pick up any of the new cards. Like, let's say if we're going to, we're going to click on this and we're going to, if I could unselect these cards, let's go clear. That's probably a little bit easier. Select all, and then we're gonna see these cards. You can see these are the cards that have that silver border that I was talking about. These are cards you can see it's right on the further left, even before the set symbol. This is an H block card, so even if you're trying to surpass the next rotation, you could pick up any of the cards that have the H block. G block, H block, I don't know if we're on I block yet. I haven't necessarily seen that. But like there's a lot of really cool cards to pick up. I'm not sure what decks are going to look like. We're probably going to focus on that in a future video. Like there's some amazing cards like Blood Moon Ursaluna EX that are already rocking our game. And I'm sure they're going to continue to see more success, right? So I think like as we look forward to the rest of the meta game, try to pick up some of these cards. We do have our sponsors over at Kayfabe Cards, great group of people over there. That's where I get all of my cards. They support the Shuffle Squad, so that's great. We have PTCGO store. You can use code TSS5 to save 5% off your order. If you're trying to get some code cards, you just input them in there. That's how I have lots of credits. So if you're trying to craft anything online, like maybe you could see it's showing that I can exchange whatever. PTCG Live's being weird by showing some backwards cards and stuff. Gotta love PTCG Live, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely a lot of great cards to pick up. So as we're preparing, maybe picking up some more G block and H block cards, maybe not so much F block cards, but don't let that necessarily hinder your deck. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning into this video. We'll see exactly when rotation finalizes, but hopefully this video gives you a decent idea when rotation is happening, based off speculation of the Poke Beach and Trust Your Pilots, and when, what rotation is, and what are some of the cards that we're losing key to rotation. And I urge you to look through your collection. I mean, I have I have literally tens of thousands of cards that I need to sort through. Maybe you're dealing with an ETB, right? Like you could look through and maybe put some of your cards towards the back, start going through the process, start organizing your cards. Like all that stuff really does matter a lot when it comes down to it. So it would be really helpful to kind of go through, see exactly what you have going on, make sure that it gets properly organized. Maybe you want to sell some of those cards to make some extra money, try to get to another event. That's cool too. That's something that I typically do every year. A bunch of bulk Pokemon V, Pokemon VMAX, V-Stars, I'm probably going to be bringing to the vendors at some upcoming regionals. I'm going to be like, hey, I don't need these anymore because I can't play with them. And maybe I walk away with a couple $100. That might be a hotel room at one of my upcoming regionals. It all matters when it comes to a player. Maybe you want to hold on to it and build some retro decks. I know for me, like one of the decks that I'm going to hold on to, and I have it in my ultimate guard. I feel like I've shown this in a lot of videos lately. So if you're getting sick of me, I'm sorry. You're watching up to this point, so you must like something. But like a deck that I'm gonna keep, like I really like my Lost Tina that I played at the Worlds in Yokohama, Japan. I have the deck fully built in Japanese because we were allowed as foreigner players to play Japanese cards there. I thought it was sick, so I went to card shops, bought everything that I wanted, and I just have this on my desk and I'm gonna play around with it. So having a bunch of these decks is really fun when it comes down to it because you're able to play with your friends, re-experience some of those moments. Maybe your first League Cup win, maybe one of your first decks. Sometimes it hits you in those sentimental feels. So that being said, stay tuned for more great content. I think this video is going up Wednesday, North America time. Tomorrow after that, we should have our Perth metagame recap. And then we're going to go into our top 10 decks right before Toronto Regionals. I'm going to be attending Toronto Regionals, so if anyone is here going to Toronto Regionals, let me know. Would love to say hi, take a picture, meet some mutual YouTube watchers, social media mutuals. That'd be really cool. If you are trying to prepare for any upcoming regionals, I'd say Toronto, but by the time this is up, I'm fully capped. But I do have some time to help people prepare for Birmingham, San Antonio, European International Championships. Would love to help you on your journey. Hit me up on metafy.gg/@ZachLassage. That being said, I will catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great day. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.